it's me, Alex. Today I'm doing the Eyeshadow Palette Tag, which was created by the amazing Samantha March and the lovely Allie Glines. This is a tag that a whole bunch of my friends have been doing. I've been seeing a lot of people do this, where we all talk about the eyeshadow palettes in our collection. And I own a lot of eyeshadow palettes, so this, this tag is right up my alley. I thought it would be a grand old time. I've been talking a lot about eyeshadow recently, so why not continue? So there's a whole bunch of questions that I'm gonna just answer. It's basically showing off a whole bunch of my different palettes. So anyway, let me just get started. The first one is show us your newest palette, which is actually what I'm wearing on my eyes today. I just filmed a little first impressions get ready with me on this, and that is the Melt Cosmetics Gemini palette. Now this one isn't technically new in the beauty sphere, but I only got this yesterday. I bought this as a little graduation gift to myself. I have only used like this little part of it so far, but so far I'm really enjoying it. I waited too long to get this. I should have gotten this so much sooner. I think it is quite lovely, but I will explore my thoughts a little bit more as I use it more. Show us your oldest palette. This is the Too Faced Cat Eyes palette. This one is such a throwback for me. It was my the first ever high-end eyeshadow palette that I bought. This is what that looks like. I still absolutely adore it, and I'm never getting rid of it no matter what anyone says. I never use this on my eyes anymore because honestly I'm really concerned that, this would probably give me some sort of eye infection at this point, or, make me go blind, and I don't particularly want that just because this is so old, but I think that this was a very good quality palette. I really wish Too Faced would go back to doing more of these palettes because then I'd probably be more interested in them as a brand. Just because I always feel like these are pretty good quality. And while this isn't really so much up my alley anymore when it comes to eyeshadows, I think that this was a fantastic little beginner palette. When you had the 3 little rows of different looks you could do, you could also kind of switch it up. This is so fun. Show your most expensive palette. Viseart Dark Mattes. I want to say that Viseart is shit quality and you should never buy their eyeshadows, but I own this and I own their Dark Edit palette and I absolutely love both of them. Now I did get this one on a sale, so this wasn't the full $80, it was only $60, which still probably can't entirely justify that purchase. But I do think that this is really good. I really enjoy Viseart shadow quality. I wish they would come up with a color scheme that is absolutely perfectly me, but maybe I'm also glad that they haven't done that because, well, I would not have any dollars left, my friends. But I do think that this is really good quality. It is all matte, so I definitely bring in different shimmers, and it also doesn't really come with a brow bone shade, but every single look that I have ever done with this palette has always turned out fantastic. I think these colors blend very, very nicely together. It was expensive, but I do like it. Show us your cheapest palette. Now this one I had a little bit of trouble with, mostly because I really don't keep track of the specific prices of my drugstore eyeshadow purchases. It's usually under 10 bucks and I don't care that much, but I'm 90% certain it is the CoverGirl True Naked Smoky palette, and I actually really like this because this is a fantastic dupe for the Urban Decay Naked Smoky if that is something that you missed out on and really wanted the colors from it. In fact, I think the mattes perform even a little bit better than the ones in the Urban Decay palette, but I think that this is quite good. I really love this. I'm honestly so impressed with the color scheme and the quality and the everything from this, so this is good. Next is show us your everyday palette, and while my everyday palette has kind of changed over the years, the one that has kind of really stuck with me these last few months or so has really been the Anastasia and Jackie Aina palette. This is one of my favorite palettes I have in my collection, and I consider this my everyday palette because while I do switch up my makeup a whole lot and I'm constantly doing new things, I feel inspired by different things every day. Whenever I know that I want to put something on my face, but I'm not entirely sure what to do, I just kind of go in with this palette because every look that I've gotten from it, I think it always turns out really, really nice. I really like the color scheme. I think it works well for me. I bring in a little matte brow bone highlight upon occasion. I find this color scheme incredibly inspiring. I love the shadow quality, and You can tell, like, I mean, I don't know if you can tell, like, not in person, but it is a little bit dinged up because I use it that often. And obviously this hasn't been out for as long as a lot of other palettes in my collection, but I feel like I have been getting enough use out of it to call it my everyday palette. Show your most colorful palette, and that is the Urban Decay Full Spectrum palette. I think that this was a palette that everyone who missed out on the Kat Von D Mi Vida Loca palette all bought. It's a rainbow palette. It's not my favorite colorful palette in my collection, but it is definitely the most colorful because, see? Color. Lots of color. All of the colors. Actually, I wish Urban Decay would go back to making more stuff like this because this is actually pretty fun and pretty good quality. So Urban Decay, do this. See this? Do it again. Show your smallest palette, and I don't know if a quad counts as a palette, but just in case it does, I have the Pumpkin Spice Latte eyeshadow palette from Midas Cosmetics. I also have the Green Tea Macchiato one somewhere over here. I can't find it. I would have pulled out both for this, but this is just 4 little shades. I really do love this collection. It is so cute, and I didn't expect to like these orange eyeshadows, but honestly this is extremely versatile and I really love the looks that I get out of it. I always get a lot of compliments when I'm wearing this, so I think it is quite lovely. Show your biggest palette. Now I already showed you all the Urban Decay Full Spectrum, but this one is also from Urban Decay and basically the same size as that, so I'm considering this one my biggest palette. That way it's like different from the Urban Decay Full Spectrum, and that is the Urban Decay Vice 4. Which I mostly bought for the packaging, but also I really do love the jewel tones that come in it. The shimmers, Urban Decay does shimmers really well, and while I don't like the shimmers paired with the mattes that are in here, I do really enjoy this palette. I don't own any like gigantic Morphe palettes or anything like that, just because those scare me. That's why this is the largest palette I own, and it's not even that big in the grand scheme of all of the palettes that exist in the world, but you know, I'm quite content with that actually. I don't need a gigantic eyeshadow palette. Show the palette with the best memory, and I have a lot of palettes with a lot of memory, so I'm gonna pick the most recent one with a memory, and that is the Huda Beauty Sapphire Obsessions palette. And the reason I'm saying that this has the best memory is because one of my friends got this for me for my graduation, and she had basically been in cahoots with Case to send me a gift, and whenever I wear this, like, first of all, it is very much me. It is a good Alex color scheme. Whenever I wear this, whenever I even look at it, I always think of my friend who sent it to me, and that makes me really happy and I feel really, really loved. Show a palette that is worth the hype. I gotta go with Modern Renaissance. Now, I know that not as many people like Modern Renaissance as they did when it first came out, but I think that this palette is absolutely fantastic. This is still a staple palette in my collection. The only reason that it's not like Jackie Aina level of everyday is just because that one is a little bit more versatile, but also this is one of those palettes that kind of when I don't know what I want to do with my makeup, I can go into this and do like a really cool, like warm toned smoky eye with it. And I know a lot of people aren't super into that, but I still very much am, because I feel like I can still play with like textures and eyeshadow shapes and all of that and use a palette like this. And I really like how this just general color scheme really does flatter my features. It looks very good on brown eyes, and I really like the contrast of warm tones with my hair. So I still think that this is absolutely worth the hype, even if people don't care as much for it anymore as they used to. Show a palette that is not worth the hype, and I'm about to express one of my most controversial YouTube opinions. The Juvia's Place Festival palette. I know the Juvia's Place formula is like absolutely hyped on YouTube, and I don't think it's a bad eyeshadow formula. That is not at all what I'm saying. I'm saying that I have so many other palettes in my collection that have eyeshadow formulas that I do enjoy a lot better. And I think the thing with Juvia's Place is that this color scheme, like, yes, there are colors that I really like and I really use from it, but it's not the most, like, exciting color scheme in the world. Like, I love the red, like, I love the little warm tones, I love the pop of teal. I don't really go into this for a whole look. I usually go into it for one shadow because, like, the shadow's gonna perform, like, fine. Juvia's Place has good shadows, objectively. but they're not my favorite shadow formula. And I have never found a palette of theirs to have like my absolutely perfect color scheme where I get excited about every shade in the palette. Like this one, I obviously don't really use the black shimmer shade because I don't use that ever. Their quality is fine. Like if you are someone who wants to have a good quality colorful eyeshadow, I wouldn't not recommend Juvia's Place, and they are very affordable. So if you are trying to get into colorful shadows, this isn't a bad choice. I'm just saying that there are so many palettes in my collection that I go for more than this one. Okay, so I have 2 questions left. And the next one is, show your favorite palette by a favorite brand. Menagerie Violet ink. I love Menagerie Cosmetics. They're probably my favorite indie makeup brand. And to the point where on Animal Crossing, my island is called Menagerie Island. It also kind of works because, you know, Menagerie is like a bunch of animals in Animal Crossing and all that. But I also just wanted to make it makeup themed, so they make some of the best shadows I've ever tried. I love their mattes, I love their shimmers, I love that they do so much color. I think that's the reason that Juvia's isn't like quite as high up on my list, is because I've experienced Menagerie Cosmetics shadows, and these are just so creamy and pigmented and I love them so much. And I love purple eyeshadow. If you know me at all, you know I love purple eyeshadow. Purple eyeshadow is just everything. Purple eyeshadow means the entire world to me. I know I don't look like it right now, but purple is my favorite color. It is the greatest thing that has ever happened. There's nothing better than this palette from Menagerie, and y'all will have seen my review on it. I gave it a very, very highly favored review. Words cannot quite express the love that I have for this palette and for that brand. And finally, show your most used palette. Now you might know what my most used palette is by my Pan That palette of 2020, and that is the ABH Self-Made palette. This is also one of my very early eyeshadow purchases. This is the first Anastasia palette I ever bought. And I have Pan in 4 shades so far. I regularly use Sherbet as a blush, Pink Champagne. I am absolutely buying that as a single after I pan this. While there are a lot of shades in it that I really don't particularly care for, there are a lot of shades that I would absolutely die for, like this little quad right here is just everything to me. I mean, this has been in a lot of project pans for me, so I think that's also a reason why I have managed to use this up as much as I have, because I'm not exactly the most deliberate in my eyeshadow use. Like, unless I set out to pan something, I kind of just do my makeup with whatever the wind takes me to that day. That is why I don't have a lot of pan in my palettes, but the fact that I have reached so much pan in this palette I think is very much a testament to at least my determination with this sucker. So anyway, that is the end of the eyeshadow palette tag. If you haven't done this video and you would like to, please do. I would love to see everyone's answers to this. Shout out to Samantha March and Allie Glines for making this tag. I thought it was so super fun. And anyway, if you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and subscribe down below if you want to see more videos from me, and I will see y'all in my next one. I hope you'll have a wonderful day. Bye!